12.
Recording is on.
Hallelujah.
Recording is on.
In like Dolby THX at my end.
Wow. That's a Dolby reference I haven't heard for a while.
The audience is listening.
Yeah. There are ears.
Airline announcement of some kind.
Who's here? Frank, Michael, Kevin, Howard, Drew, Jerry, Son, Peter, Phil, Eric, and Wayne.
This is very distracting, Peter. Thanks a lot for putting me on this. Now I'm going to doing this for hours tonight after the meeting.
Oh, you're up all night anyways.
Not my problem.
Hey, where's Dave? Oh, there he is, behind Eric.
Yeah, that's right.
Try again. Move a little bit further left, Eric.
Yeah, that's right. He's on the call already, isn't he? There he is. Look, there's Hassan and Dave. At least we got the better side of Hassan. Actually, the better side of both of them.
I just got my second shot. I'm a mess right now.
Oh, I self-administered a second shot last night. So.
All right.
Yeah. I had one dose left over, and I couldn't find an arm for it, and I was at week 13, so I said, "Oh, what the hell?" So I stabbed my own shoulder.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I got second shots yesterday. No reaction. A minor reaction, but nothing severe.
Punch in the arm feeling, that's all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're doing a little worse, Hassan, yeah?
Yeah, at night I was tossing and turning. All day I was asleep, just headache, whatever, muscle pain. But now it's fine.
Yeah, be careful. You're starting to whine now.
Yeah.
Last week on Thursday and Friday, for each day I had an adolescent male collapse right after their shot. So, I'm just sort of doing whatever, all of a sudden thunk, and guy's twitching on the floor, and the other guy is out for a count of 10 or so. We actually had to roll him over. I thought, I have to start doing CPR here, but no, he came to. So it's all just psychological reactions, right? But it's true what they say, young males. So.
It's the demographic. My wife says it's the demographic of this generation that does this, and she's up at the mass immunization clinic here in town, and they've had more fainters and more people taking shots lying down.
Yeah, I was watching a program.
Oh God, we were built of sterner stuff.
This woman was getting her shot, her first shot, and she hates needles with a passion. And when they gave it to her, she got an automatic reaction to smack the nurse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always a little bit wary of that, I always kind of a little bit prepared for somebody, because they've told me that. Someone told me in advance. I just have an automatic reaction to slug, a person, give them a right hook or something with their, non-vaccinated arms. I'm always a little. I don't
know what it's going. I didn't even feel a thing. I feel more from a mosquito than I did from that shot.
Yeah. One person told me it tickled today.
Big time here, I think.
You should get Dave to give you a needle there, Eric.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get going here. Okay, good evening, gents. Nobody new here. The only one we're missing is Dave. Drew.
I text him as per usual.
Yeah. He's probably eating.
By the way.
Anyways, go ahead.
Oh, no, never mind. It's not going to work.
Go ahead. That was interesting.
So tonight we've got Wayne presenting doing a presentation on the KiCad 101, and then after that we'll Sam's going to give us a little spiel on cool chips, and then time remaining Peter's going to do a show and tell, and then after that we'll just have the round table, I guess. Take it away, Wayne.
Okay, so usual sound check. You can hear me fine? Too loud? Good?
No, you're good.
All right, let me turn my timer on so I don't go over. I was having a lot of trouble with this particular presentation because there's so much content to talk around. You know, I was trying, let me try this, let me leave that off, that sort of stuff. So I decided just to keep a clock on myself. All right, so I'm going to do the hard thing that I always have trouble with, which is to try to share my screen. And right, so say entire screen share. It won't let me share the entire screen. Why is that? Okay, there we go. And now I will bring up a presentation. Can anybody tell me if they can see a presentation?
No, but we see your mouse.
How good is that, eh? How about this? Anything?
No, usually I find you have to have the presentation active, already open, and then share screen.
I actually had it. That was the case. All right, next thing. I got to make sure you can see or can't see KiCad. How about that? No dice?
Nope.
No.
Shiesty.
Nothing there.
Okay, so last time this happened, what did I do?
Do you have
everything is-
multiple monitors?
No, I'm afraid I don't. I think everything's loaded, so I should be able to kick myself out and come back in again. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, give it a try.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me try that. It's Windows 7. That's my blame. Okay, how do I get out of here?
Hey, Eric, Dave behind you hasn't moved at all.
What?
Huh? Huh?
Okay, you know what? I have a picture of you and mine, and you have a picture of me and yours. Like, this is getting a little strange.
At least I got Peter in mine.
Hey, at least I have Hassan in mine.
He looks like a little troll.
It makes to you, right?
Sorry, son. You look tiny.
Shrek and a troll.
Like a hobbit.
That's true.
So I'm going to try it again. And I am trying to bring up KiCad again so you can see it. Any dice or no dice?
No. Usually I find, like I say, usually I have to have the program running
It
already.
is running.
Files open. And then when you do the share screen, you want to share application.
Okay, that's different. I was sharing the entire screen. So let me try that one more time. I am going to unshare my screen.
That's working.
I always share the entire screen. Never had a problem.
Okay, so what's
Windows
working,
10.
guys? No, it's Windows 7.
Yeah, we're getting your browser, but not the KiCad.
Oh, that's nice. How about now?
No.
Okay, let me stop sharing and I'll
Going
try.
back and forth, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know. My mouse is where's the share screen again? This time I'll do a window. Okay, let's go with KiCad. Share.
No.
No, I'm seeing it.
No, but
It's going to be a short talk, guys.
do you when you go to share screen, do you see where it says share application?
KiCad. Let me go back to there. Stop sharing. And it says share your screen first, right?
No. Does it say share application?
No, I don't see share application anywhere.
And you got KiCad, you got the window for KiCads open.
It's open.
Don't close KiCad. Have the window for KiCad open.
Mm-hmm. So where am I going to see share my application? Is it on the bottom bar?
It'll be one of the tabs at the top. One says share screen, share application, and then I think says share Chrome tab.
Yeah, so what I've got is entire screen, window, and Chrome tab. I clicked on window. I can see all of the active windows of the applications that I have open. And then I select KiCad. I press the share button, and I get to see nothing because I'm not there yet. And you're supposed to see it.
No,
Are you seeing anything?
no.
Anything at all?
Black screen.
Not even a mouse now.
Oh, that's nice.
That's frustrating for you. It's unfortunate.
It's okay. It was a great presentation. You really would have enjoyed it. I'll do.
I'm already enjoying it.
I'll do one more thing. I'll close the application before I give up and then reopen it.
See, I see they've changed things. So now it used to say application, and now it's saying window.
Oh.
Is that way in yours too? Okay. Go
Is that an
away.
update, Peter, that just went through?
Yeah, maybe, because like I said before, it used to say application. Now I just check it myself, and it says window, where it used to say application.
I hate where they help us out by improving things.
Oh, is that what they call it now?
Well, that's the government version. I've been working for the government too long. I keep making things sound much better than they actually are.
Okay, so I've done one more try. I shut off KiCad and brought it back up with this session on, and I have shared a window, which should be visible now, according to.
Oh, wait.
Something's
coming up,
but it's not. It's still all black.
Well, that's a good sign, though. He's got black. That's good. Maybe I should just see what else I got. No, I just got KiCad. So you've got nothing?
Nothing.
How about now?
Nothing.
Well, damn.
Let me see if I can share my screen.
Yeah, nothing is what I got then, guys.
Here, let me just try something.
Yeah, I see yours.
So the solution would be to email the presentation to Peter, and he can show it, and you can say next slide.
So you saw my. Oh, there it is. Now
Oh, there we go. There it is.
Okay, so steps through again.
But whose is that?
It's not me. It's
Who's that? Oh, that's Dave.
okay. So put the screen up. Just give me the steps again, and I'll do it. I'll try to do it.
So somebody was able to share a screen there.
So share your screen, find the window, and bring it up. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not working for me.
When I did my presentation to all the people.
Did you see my Word document when I did my share screen?
I booted myself off before I did that. Actually, I'm not seeing KiCad as one of the windows right this moment. So, trying it again.
Have you got a movable webcam? You point the webcam at your screen.
It's not all that portable, no.
Why don't you just send someone the presentation and we can put it up on our screen?
Well, the reason is that I'm not doing a presentation, I'm doing a live demo.
Oh, we're seeing it now. We're seeing KiCad now.
Okay, so that demo commences now then. Wow, that was hard. All right, so let me...
There's a bunch of purple squares in there.
Can you see the what you should be looking at if you're seeing KiCad is the main screen where it allows you to launch the schematic editor and the functions. So can anybody confirm you see that much?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'll skip the intro part of it, the background behind it. What I'm going to do today, because of predicted time, I was only going to do the schematic layout editor and a few features surrounding it. But the menu that you see when you come in here includes a few other things, which I'll briefly touch on. The Gerber Viewer is for if you're going to send this out for production and manufacture. You may not want to trust the PCB layout editor all that much. You want to just have a quick look to make sure that what you're sending off to the manufacturer and spending big money on looks exactly as you thought it did. A calculator here has a couple of cool features. It'll tell you how wide, how thick the lines need to be if you're doing something like a power application. So you just tell it how much current you're running through and that kind of stuff. There's a footprint editor and a symbol editor here, and they're available pretty much everywhere. They allow you to actually modify your own or create your own symbols if you want. So now I'm going to try to bring up the schematic layout editor, which may not work because it's a new menu, but how's that look? Any trouble seeing a schema editor?
No, we're just seeing the opening screen. We're not seeing the schematic editor.
Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and share it one more time. This is where I'll be all the entire talk, so it might work and it might not. Window. Share. Fingers crossed, guys.
We're seeing your browser, but not KiCad yet. Although KiCad's in the background.
How about now?
No.
What a pain.
For some reason, your browser is showing all of us, but KiCad's in the background. And it is the schematic editor.
It's in the background. What can I do to make this bigger? Got it focused. Full size. It says it's sharing a window. Stop sharing. So, what did I say?
It's almost like it's not clearing your last screen like the browser. Like I say, KiCad's schematic editor is in the background.
How about now?
No, nothing's changed.
Well, that just sucks. I don't have a backup plan for this, so I guess we should just move on. And what I'll do, Peter, is maybe you and I can do a quick rehearsal at some point if I can set a meeting with you and see if I can.
The only other option is to email it to me, and then maybe I can bring it up.
No, that's not going to work. For a demo of a live demo, I've got to do the keyboard.
Okay.
I'm not actually doing it.
Oh, that's right. You were doing it live. Okay.
Are you running Windows 10?
Unfortunately not. I couldn't get it loaded on this particular machine. So this is Windows 7. And I'm running it on Chrome. So it could be a Windows 7 problem.
Yeah, because I was going to say in Windows 10, there is a desktop record feature. It's for gamers. It comes as part of the Xbox software. It comes with all Windows 10, and you could record your screen. So you could pre-record your presentation, go through it, record it, and then you could show it to us.
Yeah. So I got a Windows 10 machine upstairs. I could probably try that. So sorry about that, guys. I wish I could have delivered.
So if your system has a lot of windows open, like better close some so that it has got memory. Maybe it's also because of memory.
I'm sorry I didn't catch that.
If there are a lot of windows open in your machine, you could also close some of those windows. Maybe it is due to memory issue in your system. Could be. I'm not sure, but
I only had one extra window open, and that could be a problem. So I'm closing it now.
Because one thing that was noticing was while the schematic editor was in the background, the old screen that came from Jitsi was still on top of it. It's like it didn't get cleared off.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's some kind of screen driver. It's like a Windows 7 screen driver or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your adapter card, the driver for it. I think it's something funky going on with it.
Okay. Well, then I won't waste much of your time trying to debug this thing. I'll do it offline. Okay. Guys good with that, or do you want me to keep trying? Because I don't mind.
The other thing you could do is just reboot your PC.
Yeah. Okay.
Do it like a cold start though, like power it off, count to 10, power it back on, do a complete cold start and see if
Okay.
that helps.
I'll do that. Have fun. I'll see you guys in a bit.
You can always chat.
Righty.
Okay, let's get Hassan to fill in while Wayne's restarting with his cool chip.
Okay, let me try to present my screen. Okay, well, let's do one window. All right, let me know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so this is a chip I read about in this a print magazine that was mailed to me about 10 years ago. And I tried to search for it in between, and I couldn't find this application note. But then it came up yesterday, lickety split. So I sent it to Peter, and here it is. It's basically the equivalent of our SNA, but on a single chip. So they call it an impedance measuring chip, IMC. And what it does is it measures complex impedance over this range, but it's only like 100 kilohertz. They have a 12-bit ADC, a DDS, and a DSP in there. And what they use this for is, I guess, electrochemistry and stuff like that. So you stick two electrodes on something, and you can get the spectral transmission or the spectral impedance of the medium. But the thing is, the same principles apply to kind of the SNA we built, and kind of like the nano VNA as well. Although there's a bit of a difference there. So let's get into that. So here's the data sheet. Let's zoom in a bit. All right, so on the top left, you've got this oscillator, you've got this DDS, which will generate any frequency in 0.1 hertz increments, converts it to analog, and amplifies it, sends it out. Here you would stick two electrodes in a solution, a specified distance apart, and you can buy probes that are kind of, I think, pre-calibrated to 1 centimeter distance, like a standard distance. Then you send the input into another amplifier, digitize it, and then they use DFT. So one question is, why would they use a DFT rather than an FFT? Because the FFT is better. Does anybody want to take a crack at that?
Fixed frequency.
Yeah, but what about it?
Well, they're looking at only a specific band of frequencies, so it's faster to do a DFT as opposed to doing a wide whole bunch of bins, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. The FFT works on the entire band. So if your ADC is digitizing at like 1 megasample or 100 kilohertz, the FFT can only do 100 kilohertz. But the DFT is basically the simpler version of it, and that you can run it. You can do it at like a narrow bandwidth. And
What does DFT stand for?
So DFT is a discrete Fourier transform.
As opposed to FFT, fast Fourier. Okay.
That's right. So the way to think of a DFT is, let's say let's say you've got a frequency like 7 megahertz, and you want to know the frequency, the spectral component at 7 megahertz. The way a DFT does it is it would generate a 7 megahertz wave, and then it would correlate that, multiply it with your input signal, and then sum it up. And that gives you the correlation of 7 megahertz with your signal. And that's one data point. And then you would do 7.01 or something and repeat the process. And you can tell it's very inefficient because there's a lot of repeated computations. The FFT ends up taking a lot less computations. I think it's like, for a DFT, it would be like n squared. If n is the number of data points you have in your signal, you have to do n for each frequency bin. Whereas for an FFT, I think it's like log n or something. They find a way to repeat the save intermediate results, and it's a bit complicated, but you do a lot less computation for an FFT. But the drawback is you can only do the whole band, and you can't actually zoom in on any narrow slice. So here you can do that. So you can find the resonance peak and zoom in exactly on that. Then you get, the DFT gives you a complex number, and then you get real and imaginary data points for that frequency. And then you read it out through I2C. So what can you use this for? Let's see, we can skip all that. So here they've got this Visual Basic interface that they use. You set all these parameters, start of the frequency, the resolution, number of points, et cetera, and then they do a whole, they talk a lot about calibration, because I guess this is a precision instrument. And here is what you would see. Here's what the data should look like. So here they're actually taking a loudspeaker and profiling it with this chip. What you should see is something like this. Like you have a big resonance peak somewhere around, I don't know, 20 hertz or something. It's like, 10, 20, 30, 27 hertz or something. And then you get a flat response afterwards. So that's what this chip would be ideal for. You can get a lot of accuracy and stuff like that. So could you use this with the Nano for antennas, for example? Or for circuit components like filters and analog parts? Well, what would you need to change here? The DDS you can definitely get at up to 30 megahertz. That's not a problem. The DAC would be a bit more expensive, and the ADC would be, quite a bit more expensive. So yeah, you could, in theory, use this exact architecture to build a VNA, but you'd have to use really good ADCs and DACs, and the amplifier would have to be pretty linear, pretty good over that range as well. But the Nano VNA uses a different trick. I think what they do is they use like digital waveforms, and they just rely on the antenna to filter out the harmonics and stuff. And I don't know, do they use a return loss bridge? Do they have one built in? Because I know they can't be doing I don't think they're doing a DFT or an ADC at that frequency. So either they're mixing down the signal, or they've just got an RLB in there and they're doing some other magic. Does anybody know? Okay, we can check it out. But anyways, that's the whole chip.
Hassan, couldn't you simulate that in a really hot and fast microcontroller?
Simulated how?
Simulate this functional diagram here. Could you not simulate the goes outs and goes ins using really fast microcontrollers?
Well, these are analog waveforms out and in. So how would you simulate them with a microcontroller?
Yeah, because if you look at a lot of the what do they call the not ESP? What's the blue pill? The upscale version of those things. It's not ESP. What's it called?
STM32.
Yeah, STM. You look at a lot of those chipsets, they've got a DAC built in. And they've got really fast ADCs as well, right?
It's about 1 megasample per second, and I think you can get a peak of 6 megasamples. So you could do, that's on the border line of what we would need. So it could work at like, I don't know, 80 meters.
Yeah, or you could down convert it, right? Because that's what what's his name does. Farhan does with his Spectrans, right? Is he does a bunch of down conversions. But if you got two STM32s, you know, one generating and one inputting, they're a couple bucks a piece. You know, you could easily generate this. And the one digitizing it, it could easily do a DFT.
It's, well, let's see. So if you have two 6 megasample per second converters, I don't think you can get a 12 megasample per second that easily with them.
No, but what I'm saying, if you've got a down converter.
Right. Yeah, that is possible. Actually, that's true. It is. It is possible.
Do you not lose resolution when you use down converters, though?
There's always a trade-off. Yeah, there's always some noise loss. Right.
You just have to put some filters in, right? Like bring it down to, say, you know, what, 500 kilohertz, for example. And then you just have a tight filter around that to make sure you're only looking at that frequency, and all the other stuff on the other side of it goes away. And hope no aliasing, nothing folds back into that pass band, right?
Yes, but yeah. And these are actually these are like laboratory conditions, because it's not like we're measuring 50 microvolt signals. This is a 1 or 2 volt signal, and you can control, you know, it's coming in on a wire, so there's no out of band harmonics, no noise, nothing. So it's a relatively clean measurement environment. So that opens up a lot more tricks.
Remember, Peter, that chip you were playing around with, that what was it? That it would measure the complex.
Oh, the AD8302.
Was that the one? Is that the one they use in the nano VNAs?
That's the one. You could use it in a VNA, yes.
But do you know whether they're using that?
I don't know if they're using that in the actual VNA or not, but I know some people have done some VNA stuff using the AD8302 chip.
Whoa, what's this? This is a directional coupler. So that is a return loss bridge.
Yeah.
So TX goes in one way, receive comes in the other, and they've got a mixer, right?
So you see, they're actually doing conversion, right?
Right.
They're probably bringing it down to some frequency where they could digitize it and process it, right?
Yep. Yeah. There's a technique called bandpass sampling, which we could use to actually, in this case. So basically what this means is, if you've got, let's look for a good, oh, here, okay. So let's say you've got a bandpass signal in the top row. It's, you know, 38 to 48 kilohertz, let's say. So the whole spectrum is clear except for a narrow band, and that's typical of like a radio channel, a radio channel. So if you bandpass filter, you put a BPF on your input, so everything is zero except the band of interest. So all you have to do is sample it at a certain rate. Not necessarily 38 or something. Actually, it's not 38, it's 33B. But, okay, so hang on. B is the bandwidth. 1B, 2B, 3B, 4B. All you have to do is sample it at the bandwidth, at B samples per second. And then you'll alias this thing, and then you'll actually get the band of interest that you need. So what this means is, if you have a what's the width of the, I don't know, 7 megahertz band? It's like 300 kilohertz or something. Mm-hmm. So all you have to do is sample at, it's B or 2B. Let's say it's 2B, so 600. You sample at 600 kilohertz, and you'll actually downmix the band and everything automatically. This is a technique I read about as a student, and I've never actually used it, but I'm pretty sure it works. And
but there has to There has to be some kind of trade-off. Otherwise, you could build a perpetual motion machine. You'd have to sample longer, or you'd have to sample more data. There's some kind of, you have to trade off something. You can't get something for nothing. So does this assume that it's a highly repetition signal, like over, say, 100 cycles? It's completely predictable, and therefore, if you sample at a lower frequency, you're going to capture enough information over so many cycles. Is it something like that?
Yes. So the bandwidth of the signal tells you how fast it changes. If you have a 1 kilohertz bandwidth at, like, your audio is 1 kilohertz and it's at 7 megahertz, you basically have a carrier that's constant for like 1 millisecond. 1 kilohertz is the maximum speed at which the signal, the message signal changes. So what that means is for 1 millisecond, 1 over a kilohertz, your carrier will not change. It'll be constant, right? Like a zero, like, I mean, if you had like a, I don't know, 0.001 hertz bandwidth, that means at 7, and you had a signal at 7 megahertz, you know, you basically have a pure carrier that doesn't change over many, many seconds. On the other hand, if you've got a 7 megahertz signal and 1 megahertz bandwidth, it could change 1,000,000 times a second. Like the amplitude would change 1,000,000 times a second. So that's one part of it. Second part is you do have to do filtering. Without the filtering, it's noise from adjacent bands would corrupt the signal. And third thing is your ADC has to have a spec called analog bandwidth. That has to be equal to like your carrier frequency.
Yeah, I can kind of see it, but I don't. You got to dumb it down more. Well, that's okay. We could do this. Get some pen and paper at the Rat Hole convention, and we could talk about this stuff.
Well, let's build it. Let's actually try this thing out. I mean, there are some interesting diagrams here. So basically, I mean, you can take it on faith. When you do sampling, you're basically aliasing this thing at your sampling frequency, and so a band that looks like that ends up looking like that. So.
Well, this is a $25 chip, so one of you guys who has a professional sounding email address can get a sample.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can try the pharmacist.
Actually, the farmer, yeah, that's true. Actually, Eric, this has biological applications.
Yeah, we could get a shot in the chip.
All right, I'll work on it.
Okay. So
Probably get an insert grant for that one.
So now we're measuring maple sugar.
Yeah, you can stick this in your tree and figure out when the right time to turn it into an antenna is.
You write up the proposal and I'll sign it.
Yeah.
Somebody will fund it.
Mm-hmm.
Just
So
call it climate. It's an adaptation of climate change. Guaranteed money.
Well, it's the world's slowest antenna array. You got to plant your trees in a nice grid pattern, 50 years ago, and then at the right.
You can call it a new version of a log periodic.
Yes, or an antenna array.
A vertical array.
Actually, we connected a 2-meter radio to a pine tree, and we were able to hit a repeater.
How far away was the repeater?
Oh, it was far. We couldn't hit it with just a rubber duck antenna. We connected up. We had to put like this hokey match to match it, connected up, and we hit. It was the King City repeater from Caledon.
I was actually kidding. I just thought.
No, we actually did it because we saw a guy. Remember Eric at Dayton? that guy that we got the horse fence antenna from, he was going on that he can, he used like a maple tree as a antenna for his radio.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he was bombing around one of those carts.
Can load up anything.
Yeah,
I love it.
that's where we got the idea from.
Yeah,
So-
Excellent.
I see messages here from Wayne. It's actually gotten worse. He's booted the computer back up, and now it won't recognize his microphone or his camera. He was going to try his Win 10 machine, but while he's got KiCad on it, he hasn't got all the libraries that he needs. So it looks like we'll have to do it another day for the KiCad demo.
Okay.
That's frustrating.
Mhm.
Well, Peter, can you fill in?
Not for a half an hour, I can't.
No, but whatever. What do you have?
Well,
If you guys want, I can try and do a little live demo for Platform IO.
yeah, that would be good, Dave. Do you need a couple minutes to set up?
No, I could just run it.
Oh, okay.
So how do I share my screen here? Okay.
Gonna go through that again? Jeez. You know what? We've been doing this for over a year, and things have been going really smooth. So I guess we can't complain. This is the first time we've had this bad of a hiccup. So
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a new tool in town called Platform IO, and what Platform IO does, it's a plugin for Visual Studio Code. Now, Visual Studio Code is a real, honest-to-goodness IDE. So it's IDE is an integrated development environment. So it's got proper development tools, development features when you develop your code, as opposed to you go to Arduino. The Arduino IDE is pretty shitty. It's terrible. And it doesn't have the features that even the newest version of Arduino, it's getting to be more like a IDE, but it's not as good. Like with an IDE, when you write your code, for example, it'll do error checking. So for example, my code here, if I go in and I type in gibberish, right? It should come back and tell me it's gibberish, right? And I'll get an error. See, it says statements not defined, blah, blah, blah. So, and you could also trace. You're able to go and look and see a variable, and it tells you what that variable is. If you're calling a function, like that function, let me give you an example. It'll give you the parameters you call. Like for example here, check button. It tells you all the parameters. Now, this is in Python. Okay. So it's also got these things called extensions, which you can go and load, and it'll do, see how my code is all nice and colored, pretty. Like if I type in new functions, it'll auto format for me. So you got all these extensions you could put in, and this is all for developing code. This has got nothing to do with microcontrollers. It's got debuggers. It's got everything. It's a rich set of features that allows you to go and develop code. The other thing it's got integration into GitHub. So if you go, you can go in and you could create a Git repository local, or you could have it synchronized with GitHub. So when you develop your code, it automatically syncs it into a repository. And the reason why you do that, if you're writing code and you've got your program and it's working great and you don't want to mess with it, but you want to try and incrementally add in some new function, well, you could do something called fork your code. You could create a fork, create a new branch, and go and modify that code. And if it works, great, you could merge it back to the main branch, or you could just drop it and say it doesn't work, but you still have got your code, your original code saved. So it does features like that. The other thing that this does, it's got this thing called workspace. So within a workspace, I could go, for example, I've got a workspace for Java. If I'm writing in Java, if I'm writing in Python, and then I have one for Platform IO. So Platform IO is the plugin for Visual Studio Code that allows you to write Arduino code. Okay, so right here, this is the code that I'm writing for my transistor tracer. It's Arduino. It's written in Arduino. And remember, I was saying it'll auto format your code. So you guys are seeing this, right? So let's just say I'm really sloppy here, and I put my code here, and I put this code here. I'm really sloppy. Okay. Once I go and I compile it or I save it, I go up and I save my code. It auto formats it for me. It does the auto indent. Okay, and if I've got a function, it tells me what the parameters are. Can you see the little floating box there? It says my void set voltage function. It takes integer pin and float a voltage, right? The delay function takes an unline long parameter that's in milliseconds. Well, it's called, I happen to call it milliseconds, MS, right? So it's got all those cute, cool features that as you're developing your code, you could just go in and look and it tells you what the functions are. And if you type in, like let's just say you type in, now notice it's giving me an error. Do you guys know what the error is?
No semicolon.
Right, look at the error. Expected a semicolon. So you know that, okay, there's a missing semicolon. So you put it in, the error disappears. So this does proper syntax checking for you. And it's got a lot of cool features. The one nice thing about Platform IO, see down at the bottom here, you've got all these little widgets here at the bottom, right? Let me just plug in my microcontroller. So my microcontroller is now plugged in. It's got this little plug. See, it's a little plug. If you click on that, it opens up a serial monitor. And if I can connect up to COM port 4, for example, which is, I know my Arduino is connected to COM port 4, and I get my command line. That's all integrated here. It's also got it's got the compiler. So if I want to build it, it'll go ahead and build it. It's just like the Arduino IDE. It'll compile it, come back and give me all the stuff. Or if I want to program it, I just click the program, the upload, and this is the coolest part of this. It auto detects the port. See what it said there? See, looking for upload port, auto detected COM port 4. It goes out and it looks for which port it's your Arduino is connected on, and look, it brought me right back to my serial monitor.
Wow.
This is really cool. And the best part about it, see, you've got this little alien head, right? So that's Platform IO. It's telling you Platform IO is loaded. If you go to the home icon here, it opens up the Platform IO. So this is another really cool feature about Platform IO. Let's just create a new project. Let's call it chip. Okay, we select the board. Okay, look at the boards this thing supports. SparkFun, ATmega, Adafruit, Arduino,
Nice.
Wemos. See the Wemos chips?
Yep.
Espressive. Look, native.
especially good.
Espressive. That's the ESP8266 chips.
Yep.
It supports it native. I don't have to download anything. It supports it natively. There's nothing I have to go do. I just select the board, and it auto identifies the board and programs it. There's nothing I have to do.
Program
So
master.
I could select a board, and I don't know. Let's just select.
Is it free or paid version?
Here, so let's select the Expressive ESP32. Now it gives me, in this case, I can only program it with Arduino. Let me see, do they have any microchips? Well, there's Freescale. Let's use a Freescale chip. So there, I can't use Arduino, but I can use the mbed framework, which is like Arduino. I'm just trying to pick one where it's got multiple frameworks. And I think the best thing is the...
What about the Tiny?
Yeah, I'm looking, like, where's the ESP32s? Not ESP, STMs. Let me just type in STM here. Yeah, here it is. There's the blue pill there. So I select that, and here now, see, I can use Arduino. I could use STM32Cube, which is the manufacturer. That's probably their web-based tool, right? So it'll develop that. It'll develop this and that. I have no idea what those are, right? And this, it can do real-time OS. It could do all kinds of stuff, right? So, and that's the beauty of it. It's just point and shoot. You just set it up, define it, and you run it. So for example, if I want to take this code I've got here and I want to move it and I want to program it to a STM32, there is a platform.io.ini file. If you open this, you just go in here and you put in what the environment is, right? What the platform, right? You could manually go in and do this. And then once I do that, I just click the upload button and it programs it automatically. It programs it automatically. It knows what to, it goes out, finds it, puts it in. Now, that's provided my pins, because I've got a bunch of pins defined here. So, you know, I'd have to go and change this to match the ESP or the STM32. And this is the only dependency I've got, is once I change my pins, everything else should work, because I use standard NCC. I don't use any specialized function other than some of the Arduino calls like serial.print. So that's in a nutshell how it works. You know, I haven't gone back to using the Arduino IDE since probably Christmas. I've been extensively using this, and I think it's fantastic. Now, it does have a few little bugs in it, but nothing that I would throw it away for. So that's it. I could go on for hours, but I won't. Any questions?
Yeah,
Peter.
I got a couple comments, Dave. One is I did download the latest of the Arduino platform, and it's a big difference from what Arduino has been putting out. But while it seems to work better in some regards, I'm not really happy with it. And of course, I'm not a power user by any stretch of the imagination. But one thing that stuck out for me Well, two things. One, the auto COM port, because when you forget you plug in a different port, you don't change it with the Arduino platform. It kicks back an error, and you got to change it all around. But the other thing that I thought that was really cool feature is your fork feature. A couple of times I've gone down a path of trying something new in code that was working, and you're trying to develop it further in some fashion, and you mess it up so bad, I can't get it back. And of course, do you think I saved the original copy so at least I can start over? And the last time it happened to me, no, I didn't. So it was a real mess to get it back. So that fork feature is a really cool idea.
Well, that's not a Visual Studio function. That's a Git. GIT. That's a Git function, right? That's a Git feature where you can fork code, and Visual Studio integrates to Git. So it'll allow Git to go and control all your source. It's what's the term for it? CVE or CSV, continuous source something or other. There's a term for it.
Mm-hmm.
CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous.
No, that's Hassan. What's it for managing versions? A version management, what's it called? There's an acronym for it.
Version management systems, like
version. Oh man, there's an acronym for it.
Yeah. Source code control system, RCS, revision control system.
Yeah, VCS. I think it's version VCS, version control system or version control. Anyway, there's some kind of acronym for it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Peter, yeah, it's just Visual Studio integrates with Git, so it leverages Git to control your software, right? But I'm still old school. Sometimes I use Git. There's a project where I use Git on. But what I do is I stop sharing my screen. I just create different versions. When I go to add in a new function, I create a completely new program. I copy it, rename it. And that's the other thing Visual Code does really well. You just right click on your code, and you just copy paste it, and it creates a completely new version of your code. All the dependencies are kept. You don't have to create no modules or go in and redo it. Everything's done for you.
Well, I did learn my lesson. So
Okay, anybody else with a comment or question?
I guess that is a free thing too, isn't it, Dave? I don't read lips, Dave. Can't read lips, Dave.
Dave, you're muted.
You're muted, Mike.
Yeah, there's a Visual Studio, and there's a Visual Studio Code. Okay, you want Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio is a huge program that Microsoft has, and you basically need 4 degrees to figure out how to make the friggin' thing work. Visual Studio Code is much, much easier, shorter learning curve to figure out.
That's it. Cool. All right, Dave, thank you. That was pretty interesting. So, what's next here? Well, you want to have a round table? Open questions, comments?
Yeah, why don't we, Ken, maybe with what's the official term for next week? I don't want to call it field day. That's too boring. Should we call it the Rat Hole Convention?
Sure. Whatever you'd like.
So why don't we just talk a little bit about that to see who's coming up, if anyone's bringing any cool equipment up, what their plans are, whether they want to operate, they want to test, or they just want to chew the rag, or they want to draw diagrams with Hassan and I.
Or ride a donkey.
Go garage shopping.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna head up. Because Dave promised he would pay for my gas bill, so I can't say no now. So I'm going to make that long trek, that 15-hour drive to Eric's farm. I think I'll probably come down on the Friday. I'll be there, maybe early afternoon, I think, so I can beat the traffic rush. And I plan to do a little bit of operating, a whole heck of a lot of socializing. I will have had 2 shots by then, by the way. Tomorrow's my second shot day, so I'll be completely huggable. And other than that, looking really forward to seeing my old 4 days in May dating buddies.
Hey, Eric, are you around? Do you want to explain for the rest of the people what's happening?
Yeah, well, I put a post out into the homebrew group for anybody who's interested, and got a few bites. So, but yeah, essentially Friday is setup day. So I've actually taken the day off work, and to do it right, I'm going to probably try to put up a couple antennas that if anyone wants to connect to them, their rigs. I'm going to try to have the 80-meter horse fence up. Haven't had that operational for many, many years, and then a 10, 15, 20, 40 end fed up into a tree, and neither of them are particularly high up. So we'll see what happens, 20, 30 feet at the most, I think, is all I can reasonably do with temporary installations where we're at. But it kind of like you encapsulated, it's going to be a mix of socializing and operating. I've already registered with Richard, the station, so it is a two transmitter operation. Thank you. Like nothing really fancy. Probably have a 70 centimeter and 2 meter VHF set up there. It's nice and high up, so line of sight gives you a lot of options for getting in contact with people and making some extra points on those high frequencies that tend to get ignored on field day. But otherwise, it's free for all, whatever you want. We're going to try and operate, mostly on non-commercial power as much as possible. And even though we've got lots of juice there, if need be, for anything, and there's lots of flora and fauna to play with as well. So whatever you want. Hopefully, just the gods of the weather are shining up on us that day. I know field day historically has some ups and downs, but yeah.
Eric, flora fauna, is that a fancy way of saying you want us to weed while we're up there?
You can if you want. I mean, why not?
That's what the donkey was for.
Yeah, if you're going to drag, this is a miniature donkey, right? So it's going to be pretty low to the ground, and that's if he likes you. He makes that clear right up front. So, and if he doesn't like you and you do something to him that he doesn't like, remember you're sleeping in the same sort of corral that he, overnights in. So there might be a gate left open near your tent, just saying. So you might have something snorkeling at your privates. I won't be Dave.
Maybe I'll come Saturday.
One less night to worry about, Peter? Yeah. But no, last year, Dave was putting together. What did you build, Dave? You actually assembled something that didn't work, right? Demonstrating his, unfortunately, all of his.
You let the smoke out of something?
No, but just his meaty fingers weren't doing very well poolside with the 1206s he was trying to.
Yeah, but like I had you, Klaus, I had Hassan. So, and I'm there trying to wrap toroids. Yeah, that's going to work out very well. Too much socializing. That's what happened. Hey, Peter, you bringing up a tent?
Yes.
Okay, because I got a big 10-man tent
Apparently, I snore a heck of a lot, so I've been advised I may not want to upset everybody.
I don't care. I got earplugs. I sleep with earplugs. You could start a chainsaw beside me and I won't hear it. Oh, I learned. I sleep with okay. I go camping with a lot of guys that snore, and I've learned the hard way. You got to carry earplugs. So who else is coming up? I'm going to come up too, Pete. I'll be up there as well Friday. I'll try and match your time.
Okay, I will probably leave here late morning, that kind of thing. So it means that puts me into Toronto 2-ish.
Yeah, I could be there maybe around 3. I got a meeting, I think, until noon. I got a meeting from 10 until noon, and then after that, like 1 o'clock, I can leave. I'm like an hour to 2 hours away.
Eric, publish your address, because when you go to QRZ, apparently you live in New York or Niagara Falls or something.
That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna have a big talk with Eric.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to be there Saturday morning or I'll be there like early Friday evening. I'm going to bring everything. Bring all my radio stuff. I'm going to trim up, set up a 20-meter dipole and trim it up. Give it a try.
Trim it up. Bring the PARC SNA.
But yeah, I mean, I'm encouraging everybody to bring up all of their weird and wonderful things, right? Because, stuff that I would love to have somebody here who could show me the ropes with my FT101 E, I think it is. I have yet to put that, attach an antenna to it. So somebody who has skills with, good old hybrid tube slash, I guess, micro rigs. And like Hassan, you brought a Drake up last year, I believe, right?
That's right. And I think it's probably blown, so
I'm not bringing my rig then. If you blow rig, you go to your place there.
Yeah, rural power can be a little bit saggy and a little overblown, whatever. I don't know. Might have been when Dave plugged in his hairdryer, though. So.
I think I know the reason. My antenna is only resonant at one narrow frequency, and I probably, actually, either I blew it or when I bought it secondhand, it was already blown. So
let's go with the latter.
Yeah, but I'll bring up my SDRs and see if we can do something with those software-defined radios.
Hey, Eric, do you need a 12-volt connector for the 101B, or are you going to run it on AC?
I have actually both options for it. I have just run it off of AC, to be honest with you, but I'm pretty sure I've got all the kit that came with it. I bought basically everything that the deceased Ham had with it. But yeah, good question. So,
because I have the 12-volt connector for it.
Okay. All right. Well, I will check it out.
Yeah, if you want it, I can just give it to Peter, and if you need it.
Okay. No. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't mind bringing it down because Dave's paying for the gas transportation costs, so I don't mind taking extra weight in the car.
Yep. Making a note right now, 12-volt connector.
Yeah. The check's in the mail.
I don't accept checks, but debit, PayPal.
Are we having a field day?
Pardon?
Be a lottery ticket.
Field day?
Well, unofficial, yeah. Field day at Eric's farm, it's called. So, yeah, just a prelude to the 2022 field day, I guess, where we'll presumably be back in action. So,
or the carry-on of the Rat Hole Annual Convention, number 2.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, you're welcome to come up if you're available.
So, when
Eric, are you going to be working sideband 2 meter and 70 centimeter, or are you going to be working vertical?
Yeah, no, just vertical. I got a J pole, and it works pretty well because we're about 300-400 meters elevation there, and basically see the entire skyline from whatever Oshawa to Burlington. It's a pretty commanding view. So, yeah.
Hey Eric, I could bring up my mag mount. 70 centimeters antenna, and we could put it up in your metal roof of your barn, run some coax down, and we could use that.
Use the whole roof as the ground plane.
Yep, it'll work excellent.
Yep, might even actually have the drone in action. See if I can use that to get the wire over the tree. So.
Oh, I'll bring up my drone as well too.
Yep. Technically, I'm a little close to the Tottenham airfield to be legally doing it, but who's checking?
Just keep it low. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you got a runway in your 100 acres there?
No. Well, unofficial, I guess, could be in a pinch, but yeah.
You haven't plowed the field, have you?
Plowed?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got barley and hay, fescue, everything. Oh, yeah, about 40, 50 acres of it is all farmed.
Okay, that's nice and soft. Howard, can you find a plane in an oat field?
Why do you think he's inviting us up? Because he needs it plowed.
Where do you think the barley comes from for the homebrew, Peter?
You know what? I really should have put it back. I'm hoping that I can fill up a growler of what's left in my keg. I'll bring that along. As long as it fills it up, I'll bring it.
All right. Well, hopefully we're whetting the appetite of some of the people on the call here to think about coming by. You don't have to come by for an overnight. Just come for a few hours, whatever. So, if you're in the area, obviously. I know some are a little more distant, right? So.
What, more distant than Kingston?
True. No, I don't say Dwayne on the call.
Hey, Hassan, you're coming up, right?
Yes, I'll try to come up on Saturday.
What about Kevin? Kevin, good time to get on your bike, go for a nice ride in the country.
Yeah, but it's hard to drag all that ham stuff along on my bike.
Well, don't.
But,
just come up.
I was telling Peter I've got 3 birthdays a couple days before that, so I'm not sure how that weekend's going to play out yet. But yeah, I'd like to come up.
I can give you your jab while you're up here.
That's going to be the attraction now? Anybody that hasn't had their second shot can come up?
That's right. Field day and shot clinic. Yeah.
That sounded like a real
Diamond Rain or something like that, and give it to her on the Friday, and you'll be free to go.
Yeah, the lineup would be at his front gate. Eric will have a desk set up there at the gate. Please do not enter till second shot.
What you guys don't know is that he uses a chicken beak as a syringe. You got a picture of the big needle?
Yeah, I was just looking for that. How do I give me a sec here?
Green, are you?
No, but I need to disable this stupid thing here. So yeah, on the advice of my most trusted medical advisor, I have a new device. I don't know how well this is going to come out here, but a new device for injecting. So this is what you actually get injected with, Kevin, if you're coming up. It gives you 4 times the protection, and it's high pressure. So, it's all good.
So you get every vaccine all at once.
That's right. Well, it gives you next year's flu protection, the year after's flu protection, strain protection, everything. So Delta variant, Gamma variant, Omega variant.
Can you put some stout in there as well and mix some beer?
But no, I have this on good, like I said, good medical advice that is the optimum device to use. So yeah, he's a very very knowledged and wise old fellow. So. Who shall not be named.
Got to go with experience.
Well, that should be good. So you got 2 barbecues available, right?
Yeah, 2 barbecues if need be. One's a little distant; it's right at the farmhouse, but I mean, not that it's that far away. But one right poolside as well, where we'll be operating. So
okay.
Hey Peter, when you come out, we'll go out and get food, right? Like I'm not bringing food. I figured once we get there, we'll make a run.
Sure, okay. I was gonna bring food, but yeah, sure, okay, why not? Because originally I was going to say once I show up Friday, I'm not leaving until Sunday. But
Right.
yeah, we'll do a food run.
Yeah, so we'll do a food run. We'll get some steaks or something.
And the other thing is there's nice sunrises at the farm too, right? This is what it looked like last week on Thursday. I got up at about 5:30 in the morning and saw it. Sorry?
What, feeding the
Well,
chickens?
that's the eclipse.
No, that's the sun coming up. So
Nice shot of the eclipse, is it?
let's see here. Oh, there we go.
Nice.
So yeah, it was definitely worth the kilometer drive on the ATV to the back field to take some pictures. Of course, you couldn't see any of this when you're looking at it. It was just a blazing orb, but this was actually unfiltered right through my 200-meter telephoto. So I hope I didn't wreck the sensor on the poor camera. But anyway, so yeah, I thought these are some pretty good shots actually. So
Yeah, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up my telescope as well, Eric. So hopefully we have a clear night and we could do some stargazing.
There's the in the foreground the soy, and then I think barley behind it. Something. This is not actually in our field. I was trespassing on a neighbor's field to do these, but that was my artistic holding over the top half of the sky. A welder's, I think a level 5 welder's glass or whatever, and trying to get something semi-artistic looking, but I don't know, whatever. I was just kind of messing around. So anyway, so there you go.
I was out in the local park here with my welding helmet on, and there were a couple of people walked by on the sidewalk, and they didn't know anything about this eclipse.
You wouldn't draw any attention in that neighborhood at 5:30 in the morning with a welder's helmet.
What's that?
Did they check you in for a couple of hours for evaluation?
Yeah.
You should have said COVID mask. This is my COVID protection.
Up there, you just ask them to take you to their leader.
Yeah.
Should have just left the mask on. Said, "My name's Dave Rajnath, and I live in Paris, Ontario." And
The day the earth stood still.
You could use that, yes. Thing is, nobody gets it.
let me stop sharing this. Sorry, I realized I left that up.
Well, you guys sound like you have an excellent weekend set up with a free shot, by the way. That's nice.
Yeah, if you haven't had your second shot, Eric will give it to you as you come through the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But it has to be AstraZeneca.
I was going to say I've been using AstraZeneca, so I think I am forbidden from getting anything else.
No, you can switch if you want. That's an option for you. So, but like I said, AstraZeneca is the only one I can bring home with me because it's the only one that's stable for any length of time. So,
that's the one I
Wayne, now you can do your presentation.
Well, I figured out that, you know what, I can actually let myself be seen if I go upstairs. I just can't do the presentation.
Yeah. We'll figure that out for next time, Wayne.
Sorry, guys, about that.
That happens.
No big deal.
So who else is coming up to visit? Al, what are you doing?
Unfortunately, I've got plans that weekend, family commitment. So I don't think you're going to see me. You might hear from me, but I only have a few hours available. So, but if I find some time and motorcycle time, who knows? I might show up.
You have a motorcycle?
Rumor has it.
Pardon?
Unfortunately, I have too many hobbies. Yes, I do.
Oh, well, you and Kevin are going to start your own gang, I guess. Okay.
Mr. Wolfrey said he'd try to attend. So
Yeah, I saw that. That was kind of interesting. What about Michael? Do you think we could convince Michael to come out?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I think we got family things going on that weekend, actually.
Holy cow.
bring them all up.
Yeah.
The big farm.
Eric will put him to work.
Yeah, got lots of horse run-ins to clean out and chicken coops. Be nice on a hot day. Nice job.
Okay.
You know what? I should invite VE3XTV up.
Oh yeah, that'll go well.
Sure. Come
Yeah,
on.
I'm just not bunking with them.
Well, you haven't seen him for a couple of years.
Adds a nice Kiwi flavor to the event.
No, it's gonna be a good weekend. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a good idea for telescopes as well, you know.
Yeah, I'll bring. I've got one. If I can fit in the car, it'll come up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Especially since I haven't used it for a couple of years. It just sits out in the back shed there. And
yeah, that's what this is good for, right? So lots of high-speed Wi-Fi available poolside as well. So,
well, you have a cold. Do you have a fridge outside to put our beer in?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Of course.
Fridge, freezer. Actually, I'll just throw out all the vaccine freezers, vaccines in the freezer, and bring that along too. So.
I might not even go back home until September.
And Eric, if it rains, we just throw up a tarp, and under that, because I think, was it last time it rained? Did it rain?
That was not field day, I don't think. Was it? Maybe it was. I don't know. Yeah, there was one where it was coming down in torrents, but that wasn't field day. Anyway, yeah, I mean, there's that. It's got a good, awning there. So
Worst comes to worst, we could tie a tarp, right?
yeah, but I mean, there's enough options, right? I didn't think a tarp would be necessary. Like I said, you know, there's a lot of, if you rearrange things, lots can fit under that overhang.
Hey, I want to set up a tarp.
Dave and his tarp. I've got that little gazebo that we use at field day there, Eric. I'm going to bring that along.
That actually would be a good idea. Yeah, that's one thing I do not possess is a nice gazebo like you've got there. So
right.
Peter already agreed to bring his guitar and play some tunes for us by the campfire. So.
Yeah, but I only sound good about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning after you drank about a half a bottle of Jameson.
Just make sure the window to the master bedroom's locked and sealed. Yeah.
I think the chickens will just love being serenaded.
Yeah, you never know what might be thrown at you at 2 or 3 in the morning.
What is the collective call sign you're going to be using at your station?
Apparently, we're operating under the club sign, right? I was just reading Richard's email where he said we just operate on individual call signs, but we file it with a RRL under the PARC. What is it? XR.
Yeah.
Yeah, V3XR.
Yeah, use your own call sign,
V3XR,
and you put and you put the club call sign on the club entry.
Right. Yeah, it actually confused me a little bit when Richard asked me to fill in the, what class. I don't know. I still don't have that down pat. The field day class rules. Like what if you're operating different, numbers of transmitters on different bands? Like, what do you report as what you're doing at that moment, or is it the maximum number at any time?
How many different transmitters you use over the course of the weekend?
Yeah.
At one time.
So at one time, yeah, simultaneous.
Oh,
but I mean, is this a home station or is this portable?
Do we have to call? Yeah, this gets confusing because you operate as just independent. Because how is PARC operating? I don't understand. You know what? I think it might pay to read the rules.
Yeah, I tried that. It didn't actually help me much.
Because what if there's another group and they operate as a 2 delta, or 1 delta, and then somebody else is operating as a 2 or a 3 station?
Well, I filed it as a 2 Bravo, and Richard didn't complain about that. I mean, it is kind of portable. It's not a permanent installation, right? So,
but what I mean is, how does it all get together? If everybody's operating different classes, and then it all goes under the PARC, VE3XR, how does that class work out?
Well, I mean, I think we're just, whatever. Just,
If it gets too confusing, we just go rat hole convention. Starts early.
We're not. This is not a serious. Point gathering event. This is just, see what works, and there'll be plenty of opportunity to try out your rigs on any band you choose, I think, right? So
yeah, I think it's because it's under the park umbrella. They're accepting. They could accept different classes from different people.
But how do they tabulate it into what class? I guess maybe the one that's got the most transmitters, I suppose.
Well, they just count up the points for each station.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll be back to normal next year, I guess.
Well, maybe.
Well, semi-normal.
Hopefully. So, what's the B class?
Portable. So I think that's intended for, when you go out into a park or, what have you. It's a maximum of 2 people as well, right? 3 or more becomes a, A. 3 or more is A.
Yeah.
And then home stations are D or
yeah.
E. But, I'm doing it from home, so technically I'm a D, aren't I? But it's not a permanent. That's why I figured a B is...
No, you can still use a D.
Yeah. But I think B gets you more points, doesn't it, or something? As a multiplier, or...
Yeah, I think so. And if you run on batteries, you get extra points as well.
Right. Which we're trying to do here, I think. So.
Yeah, if you throw up a solar panel, take a picture, just send it to Richard.
Right. But the question I have is, what if you use battery part of the time and commercial mains part of the time? Would you report that?
You can't. You use commercial power then.
One or the other. You can't blend.
Use commercial power to charge your batteries.
Right. Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense in some ways, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's a shame I have a really funny looking wind turbine you could use. Just Devonius made it of plexiglass, and it's about 4 feet tall.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's on the top of your mast on your sailboat.
Interestingly enough, no, but I've seen weirder stuff. The ones in the sailboats just sit there and make incredibly annoying noise and almost no power.
Well, actually, we could hook up, a number of amps to the oxen wheel, perhaps, and that could power some of the radios, Is that what they're called? Oxen wheels? I'm not even sure.
Well, maybe in Caledon.
It's that thing they used to grind wheat with. They used to put horses around to go and used to mill wheat. I don't know. I think it's called oxen wheel.
You know what amazes me is that there's still 15 people on this call.
Well, it is COVID, right? Actually, listening to you guys plot this whole thing up is very interesting. I must admit, it really inspires someone to, This is quite a gathering you're working on, just developing here.
I'm just saying it's 9 p.m. and this is beating out all of the other programming that could be on right now for everybody. So that's cool.
Well, it is kind of driving me to drink. I was just getting ready to go and grab another beer. But
anyway, yeah, it'll be fun. So anyway, you slice it.
So who else is?
I'd actually forgotten it was this weekend.
No,
this come a week from this weekend. So.
Is it a week this weekend?
Yeah, 27th and 8th or something or whatever.
26th, yeah. We'll show up on the 25th.
26th, 27th officially, yeah. 2 p.m. to...
Well, that gives me a chance to put the boat out in the harbor and operate that way. Operate Marine Mobile, although that's a very fake thing to do at Lake Ontario.
Good enough for me. Float out there in the channel.
Hey, could you?
Oh, it's good, Collins Bay.
Could you use lake water as the ground?
Oh,
does it conduct it?
Actually, as long as you're near one of the storm sewers, you usually get a pretty good conductivity. There's a lot of salt comes out of that.
Well, one day we're gonna have to go to
Collins Bay. Collins Bay is so polluted.
One of these days, we're going to need to go out to the East Coast there and try some saltwater antennas.
Well, that sounds like such a great idea. I talked to a guy from Cornwall in England, 10 watts, 6 meters, 20 years ago. He basically stuck his feet in the water, held on the antenna was a halo, and he was working Kingston in 5.9. It was wild.
I'll tell you, that's a nice place to visit. Cornwall. You don't want to drive there, but in or amongst Cornwall, but it's a nice place to visit.
Is that Cornwall, England, or Cornwall, Ontario?
England.
Oh no, England.
Right down
Cornwall, Ontario should be cool
where
to us.
Marconi hung out and stuff like that. Really cool down there. I'm just glad I wasn't driving. My brother-in-law, he was driving, and I tell you, if he was having trouble with those narrow roads and hills.
Well, and driving on the wrong side.
Well, you didn't have to worry about driving on the wrong side because there was barely enough room for your car to fit through it. One car to fit through anyway.
Oh, so really you're only supposed to be driving minis in that area.
Well, let's put it this way. I wouldn't want to drive a Camaro through there even.
And you have to drive nuts. That's a requirement on the license, the English license. It says, "Are you nuts?" And if you say no, you don't get a license.
Yeah.
Have you seen the way some of those guys drive?
I've drove over in Ireland. I can drive Ireland, but England I'm not so fussed on. Anyways, if I ever move to England, I'll never be driving again.
Yeah. I almost ended up going the wrong way on the M4.
Do you know how we drove in Ireland? My wife said second left, third left, or on the roundabouts, all those kinds of things. I didn't navigate one. All I made sure was I didn't hit anybody. And I stayed on the left side of the road. And she just said, count 2 left, 2, your third or whatever like that. And that's how I did it.
Did you hear about the
signs like that?
You hear about the government team that went over from Newfoundland to UK to study their traffic system? They're having traffic problems in Newfoundland. So they were over there for a couple of weeks studying driving on the left. And when they came back to Newfoundland, they sent in the report. And they were pretty convinced that Newfoundland should do it the same and switch over to the left side of the road. But they weren't 100% sure. So their final recommendation was that for the first year, just the trucks and buses would go on the left side of the road.
Nice. I knew there's going to be a punchline. I knew there was going to be a punchline.
Guess who won?
People on the Rock are nice. I love Newfoundlanders. They're nice people.
Just like the Irish.
Yeah. And they drink the same amount too. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to call it a night.
All right. Hey, Eric, can you email me your address, please?
Yeah, I put it in the chat there, but I can email it out as well. Yeah, it's 3 or 4 messages up. So.
I don't see it in the chat. Where is it?
Right above Ken's Dave's telescope comment.
What your address? Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, this is going to be a long weekend.
Boy, is that your street number or the acreage you got there?
I just noticed that it ends in 7-3. Just dawned on me like yesterday.
Good segue.
Yeah. As I'm practicing my code. It is actually helping doing the Carricks, the QSOs on the Mondays. It's really sort of spurred me on. I'm really getting sort of into it. I mean, I get about 1 out of every 10 letters or so, but hey, it's a start.
That's more than Dave.
Yep.
You're right, though. It's a lot of fun doing that, and it was great having Marty and Frank out. I never expected to get into Windsor area with just a couple of watts, but that was great.
I was just listening to a segment on Ham Radio Workbench that sounded kind of interesting. It's a platform where I think it works, like it sets up a local Wi-Fi connection between 2 little gizmos, and it's basically code practice. But it's all microprocessor controlled. So, Peter can be transmitted to me at 29 words a minute, and I'll be transmitting at 12 words a minute, or 5, or 1 word a minute, or whatever. And I will hear Peter at 1 word a minute, right? It'll actually slow it right down to whatever I'm able to copy on. So, and vice versa. It'll speed up for a fast ear or whatever you call it. So
Be careful about going too slow.
sure, yeah,
Sometimes too slow is actually worse than too fast.
yeah.
Like, for example, if you don't know the code, this won't make sense, but did you hear the letter M or did you hear the two T's?
Right, yeah. Once it gets so slow, the spacing becomes
exact. That's why you learn the code at 13 words per minute, so that then you just increase the spacing between it.
Oh, really? I didn't realize there was a fixed number for that. Yeah.
Well, 13 words per minute code speed is a good number to go for. That way, and then you just space out in between the characters.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to know, actually, because sometimes these programs have settings, right? And you don't know what to set it to. So.
Set it for 13 words per minute character speed, and then just slow down the distance between the letters to where you can hear.
Would you be doing some CW on field day?
Probably not. No, I'm not that great.
Yeah.
I'm not at this point.
He's gonna be drinking too much.
No steady hand.
Just because I'm away from the house and on my own means I go stupid.
Hey, I was down in Dayton with you.
We could strap the key right to the donkey. You can operate mobile. Class, what is that? C?
See?
That was the Rat Hole Convention #1.
Small membership.
The only rule we had was to empty out all our fridges before we headed back to Canada the next day.
And don't jump in the pool.
Like, how long ago was that? We were pretty young there.
There was no water in there.
That's why I said don't jump in the pool.
No, it was a lot of fun.
All right, guys.
All right.
Oh, question. So what are we going to do for food over that weekend?
Bring stuff. I don't know. We can coordinate, I guess, right? We'll just set something up and make sure we're not overlapping.
Yeah, Eric, what I figure we would do once we arrive on Friday, we just figure out what we're going to do and then make a run to the grocery store.
Actually, you know what? I got an easier solution. Sandy, you're cooking for 15 guys on weekend from next.
Wow.
Ow! Ah!
Watch for the arm come in and slap him across the head.
What's Sandy's text? Let me text him. Let me record that.
All right, guys. Well, if you're going to go shopping, maybe you should just pick up for everybody, and then when I get there and whoever else, I'll just transfer you some cash.
Yeah, $50.
Yeah, okay, that's fine with me.
Like we'll do burgers and steaks and stuff that's you could throw on the barbecue. That's relatively
easy.
Right?
I got fresh chicken.
I'm okay with steaks and hot
Fresh
sauce.
chicken, feathers and all.
I'm looking forward to the very fresh egg omelet in the morning.
Ah, that's true. Yeah, right out of the cloaca.
Don't ruin the experience.
Right into the pan.
All right, guys, I'm calling it quits.
Yeah, sounds like a appropriate time.
All right, guys, thank you very much for joining in.
Yep.
And we'll keep in contact for that weekend.
Very good, guys. Thanks. Good night.
Yep. Thanks. Good night,
Okay,
all.
good night, everybody.